Hindsight for GBP USD, going from the high time frame to the lower time frame. We took one position on GU. Right, let us start. What we start with always first, market structure. Market structure right now, going a bit back in time, we were initially bullish, but coming into this level of supply on the higher time frame onto the left hand side, we saw a shift in market structure coming down towards, shifting towards the sell side between a high, low. This becomes the new sell to buy, since this is the new area with liquidity, and this becomes the new high that we want to take because of liquidity. So this was, let me just actually do this. There is your entire buy to sell, but this is the only high with actual liquidity, so price moved all the way back up into this high, but did not see the reaction that actually saw the lows, resulting in price finding demand and shifting back up to the highs. What is price within when liquidate the only new bump in the road, well, not the same bump in the road, because that's Fabio's thing, liquidity. OB, trendline liquidity, and this is the high of the trendline liquidity, which was targeted. Price rallied, or not really rallied, but price moved all the way towards these highs before we see that new shift in structure back to the downside. Going into the individual candles, we have the lows, the highs, and that bullish trend between low, high, low, high, low. Price going a bit sideways here, but ultimately seeing this new high. By refining this is the most recent low that saw that push up between this low and that high, creating a buy to sell narrative. Really, you could possibly refine to this low here, but let's take it to that low. So this is our buy to sell demand, supply area, so we want to see price move back in, take liquidity, and see sell side towards the downside going down to 4 hour. We can identify liquidity. For every entry we need liquidity and a change of character, and in this push down the only liquidity highs were these highs here as well as these highs over here, but quite obviously price liquidated all of these highs, no change of character. We're sideways really a little bit, but ultimately we still push it up higher, meaning I would want to observe price to liquidate these highs before we see sell side continuation. And what would that possibly look like? Possibly a bullish trend, liquidation of these highs, and tap into this level buy to sell supply to see that intention towards the downside. But for our session, we were bullish with the narrative of wanting liquidity. Going down to the 1 hour and looking at our actual session, we could easily identify the lows, high, low, high, that bullish trend in price being shown towards us, and we can just identify the most recent demand, which was the sell before the buy that actually broke structure. So identify the demand quite easily. Where's my entry? It's in here somewhere. Quite easily, let's go down to the 15. And what do we need? Liquidity and a change of character. This is our liquidity low. Once that liquidity was actually taken, we observe price for change of character. We have a high, we have a low, we have a new high, but really this is one push. This is what I did identify. This is one push showing us that we got a high, a low, a high, and then internal structure, but a new low being created eventually. What do we get after this new low is presented or printed? We actually do what? We liquidate the lows and see a strong push up, meaning that demand, our new demand, our demand side of demand, meaning we can look for a possible setup. What did I do? I identified the high, the low, sell to buy. I broke structure, and instead of taking the refined POI, I took the overall POI because what was my narrative? Higher prices and what's our target, 3.2 consistently, and these highs were the target. The TP would have been well before the actual highs into the level of supply, so that's perfectly okay, which I wanted to see get taken out. And what happened on entry, or the actual price action of the entry, but the mitigation price given us that refined entry as well, but eventually price was a bit slow coming out, but eventually finding strength, trading towards the upside, liquidation at high, meaning break even. So we place our stop loss at break even, but then pound news came in, rare folders, and what was it, inflation rates resulting in a strong move towards downside, liquidating all of these stack lows, which I did note during trading, but obviously wanted to still see that price go higher up, and got liquidated. Why your stop loss was at break even? Well, spreads. New spreads resulted in a loss, not a major loss, but within our actual risk, which I'm thankful for, because it easily could have been down here and completely liquidated me out. So okay, I'm thankful for it. But that's news. But what I also want to mention is why in the New York session, new supply is created, because what happens? A break of structure. What happens here? Our POI as a buy to sell, very clean POI, but initially we take a liquidity, so showing us that inside this area is liquidity above these highs, but in the actual move down, no liquidity. This is just one single move, resulting in price slowly coming up and taking all of the sellers out. Because guess what happens? Or everyone looking at this thinks, okay, this is a fantastic POI, stacking on orders, all of your stop losses get placed above the high, and one strong move gone. Simple. Why? Because there wasn't liquidity in this initial move down. So all of the volume, excuse me, delete that because that's not relevant. All of the volume is stacked on these highs. Those highs get liquidated, and then we see a fractal change of character, because now liquidity, break of structure internally. Well, this is the structural low, this is structural high, but internal break of structure, price trends towards the upside, we break that high, internal change of character inside of here, and then sell side targeting these lows. So eventually these lows will be taken. Of course, this is also trend line liquidity. It's actually a very decent setup, since this high here gets liquidated, this high, yeah. Either way, we could have taken a sell here or something like that with that low, but obviously that's against the narrative that we want to see. We want to see higher prices. And also to note, we do close above this high, which is good, showing us that price does indeed want to continue the narrative towards upside. But that is the hindsight for today's session. Thank you and goodbye. But trust in the Lord your God with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your paths straight. Jesus Christ is Lord, Son of God. Amen.